Hi. So, as threatened, we are not playing Have a Nice Death. I did look some things up about it, however, and I wanted to let you know that I was nowhere near beating that game. Oh boy. Um, Yikes. Uh, I'm not quite sure how much there was, but there's a lot more stuff to do that requires you to beat it multiple times. Um, which I might be up for doing, but I don't think it's necessarily going to be good streaming television. So, as also threatened, I'm going to play Citizen Sleeper. Uh, you know, here. Game? Why is it not captured? There we go. So, Citizen Sleeper, I have played some of, which is why I haven't continued, but I'm going to start a new game just for you. Is an adventure game with a dice rolling mechanic and a dice spending mechanic. In that you will roll some number of dice and you will use those numbers to either buy opportunities to roll on actions or other effects, or to just unlock certain things. It is a story heavy game. I will be doing a lot of talking. It can be heavy. Here, we'll just start. It explains itself fairly well. Empty. All right. Choose your character class. Frame Sleeper M45, E45, or a different E45. Huh. So you have the machinist, the operator, and the extractor. So you have everybody starts with a specific perk. You have skills. These affect your dice values when you interact with events with them. So the machinist. A machinist repairs and modifies automated systems used in industrial resource extraction. Sleepers assigned to machinist work are usually diligent, careful, and structured people. Perk, Efficient Extractor. Chance to gain random scrap items on engineer actions. So engineer actions, they have a +1 to work with machines and physical tools. They are 0 with interface, which is working with digital interfaces. Endure, which is using strength or strength of will, which I appreciate. Intuit, which is approaching problems with awareness. And they are -1 with engage, which is approaching problems head on. I love this art. Look at the little drone. Um, as you can see, this is an artificial person in some ways. Um, your body is not your body. And I guess as you can see, this one's got some exposed parts, and that's probably not how that's supposed to look. Um, and yet, there's the operator. An operator works with drones and high precision remote machines to perform complex tasks from a distance. Sleepers assigned to operator work are usually cerebral and precise people. Perk, Transfer Intercept. Chance to gain cryo on interface actions. Uh, So they have a 0 in engineer, a +1 in interface, so that works with their perk, and then a -1 to endure, so they're not very strong. Um, I also really like this design. The prosthetic leg, which is like, is this actually a prosthetic leg? Like, is this the same foot that originally went with this body? And they've just put a splint in there? Um, they've got this cool tablet looking thing. Their jacket looks sweet. They've got a little tiny flying drone. But like, they've got a lot more stuff plugged into their head than the machinist did. And the machinist also has a little drone. The extractor. This is the one that I actually selected for when I played this on my own. I just really dig the look of the extractor. Extractors work on resource extraction, often in hard vacuum environments. Sleepers assigned to extractor work are often confident, self-sufficient, and have a high level of endurance. Perk, photosynthetic skin. Sunbathe dice action allows energy recovery at home. We have energy recovery at home. We'll go over what that means. Their +1 is to endure. So they're strong. They have strong will. But they are not very intuitive. They do not approach problems with awareness. So, first choice. Pick our starting class. All of them can, via play, level up to get the perks the other ones have, to increase their bonuses, remove their negatives as you play. So, like, you become less unique in some ways as you become more powerful, which is interesting. I would say there's, like, there's advantages and disadvantages to all of them as a starter. Like, from what I've seen of the game, playing as an extractor, photosynthetic skin is real handy early in the game, and then becomes a non-issue to get energy. But strength of will is very good, but having a -2 into it is really bad. The operator, cryo is the term for money in this game. Like, that's the cash. So every time they use the interface action where they work with digital devices, they have a chance to get paid, which is important. You need money in this game. This game takes place in a deeply capitalistic, way of operating. But eventually you can get work done in such a way that making money isn't really the going concern. But having a low strength is bad for a lot of things that can get you paid early. So it's, that's that sort of trade-off. Random scrap is interesting because you get, there's a couple different things you can do with random scrap, especially later in the game, which is good, right? Like, all of these kind of work as money in one way or another, right? Like, the operator is the clearest, right? Because you just get paid for doing a specific type of action. Scraps can be sold for money, and the photosynthetic skin allows you to gain energy without having to spend money. Um, but like working with machines and physical tools, like being an engineer is one of the ways to get the most money early in the game, right? Because those are better jobs. Um, but not having a high engage means that you're going to be real passive in your options. So, I don't know. You say you like the operator design. We could do an operator. Okay. We will be an operator. Unknown. Where are you? The first thing you become aware of on waking is the disconnect. The delay between thinking and feeling, between wanting to act and acting. Minor, almost imperceptible, but always present. It's at its worst when waking, when your self has spent many dark hours recalling what it felt like to be real, to be a person, to be in a body that was indisputably yours. And we are given a choice. We can think of that body, or we can forget that body. Forget seems reasonable. Like, that's not your body, right? This is your body. You resist nostalgia. It is pointless, especially now. This is the moment to reach out, not curl inwards. This is your moment of escape, even if it feels immediately like you traded one prison for another, smaller, colder, lifeless. Reach out. You almost laugh, or you would if there was room or even air to do so. The walls of the container are immediately present, cold, hard, at your back and face, cramping your limbs. You resist the desire to stretch, knowing that the claustrophobia comes next, and to retreat a little from your central nervous system. It isn't painful, not like you used to know pain at least. In emergency mode, pain is a message delivered with efficiency and ease, a reminder that harm is imminent. There is no insistent throb, no trembling nerves, just a warning delivered with the banal quality of a digital notification. Right now, there are thousands of them. Do we remember the plan, or do we remember the others? What was the plan? You mostly remember that it wasn't a good plan, but then your options were limited. And once you got the itch to get out by any means possible, it was either that plan or something much worse. It was at least simple. Collapse the shaft, drift away in the chaos, slip into cargo processing, seal yourselves into containers, then just hope the freighter left before you were missed. Some were lost in the shaft. Others never found the meeting point. Only a few made it to the containers, but the freighter, as far as you know, left. That feels like enough. Enough to know that you might no longer be on that grim and heartless rock. Even if, in the airless hold of a freighter, you might freeze solid long before you reach your destination. Oh, sorry. Before you reached any destination. So we either wait for the cold or try to rest. So, like, this is, like, what I like about this game, though, right? Like, it's painting a very vivid picture for me of, like, you have escaped from work that was awful and dangerous, doing something equally dangerous, if not more dangerous, just for a chance to not be doing that anymore. Well, I mean, we could try to rest. Or we could wait for the cold. Let's wait for the cold. That's all there is now. It has been a long time since you left. Surely weeks, maybe months. You are dully aware of damage to your legs, your right arm. You have been reserving energy as much as possible, but your body has still needed to shut down many of its systems to protect you. You have spent much of that time asleep, knowing that anything else would be impossible to endure. You feel the weight of that impossibility begin to gather. It is time to sleep again, to nudge this false body into inducing delta waves in your emulated mind, and once again recoil into a dream of when you were once a person. Sleep. Time passes. The cold creeps further in. You feel something. Warmth. Not true warmth, but the indication of its presence. Your joints release from their rigor. Sound, too, everywhere, screeching and shimmering so loud that your body ducks your hearing to protect its sensors. Then light. White as the cold, softer and softer, until in a haze of dirty yellow, a figure appears. You are out. Alright, this is where this game takes place. We're going to learn about it here in a second. But Dragos, pragmatic salvager. Dragos, a pragmatic and private salvager. Look at his little drone. It's been a few hours since Dragos pulled you from the container. You sit huddled in a corner of his scrapyard, swaddled in the reflective folds of a mylar blanket. You are slowly coming back to consciousness, back to life, and you stare at the ornately curving element of an improvised heater. You are surrounded by angular, incoherent lumps of ships, some corroded beyond recognition, others still carrying glassy wounds along their edges where a plasma arc sliced them apart. As you trace their shapes with fogged eyes, you hear a voice. "So, Sleeper, you all thawed yet?" So, we can speak or we can stay silent. It's an interesting choice, I think. Let's talk to this guy who's put us next to a heater and given us a blanket. Never seen one of you come in like this. New frames must have better perseverance than Sub-Zero vac. Seen more than a few of you frozen solid to hull plates or inside outer locks in my time. They weren't so lucky. Dragos comes into focus, shrouded in makeshift tech, his headset with its glinting eyes, the mark of a drone operator. On his shoulder, one of his symbiotically linked drones perches, its irising eye locking you with an unflinching stare. Last living sleeper that came through this yard was a while ago. They didn't last long. You struggle to read his expression beneath the tech, but he seems lost in memory for a moment. Or perhaps he is just figuring out what to do with you. I plan to survive. What happened to them? Or stay silent. Well, I didn't escape from a life of servitude to not survive. You aren't sure if he hears you. I won't ask what led you to do it. To sell yourself to a corporation, and I suppose you can't go back. Your old body, that's theirs now, and you are just software. A rogue emulation illegally possessing corporate property. What am I doing? I'm like trying to do an accent with this guy. I don't know an accent. Anyway, you nod along. You remember biometrically signing the forms, the cold floor on your feet as you padded to the sleeper cells, the promise of a life off-world. But as you do, you get the now familiar sensation that these aren't your memories. These are things you know, but not things you feel. You are no longer that person. You are an offshoot, a copy. What you won't know is what's ahead. At least the last one didn't. There's no easy way to put it. That body of yours is falling apart. It's the same for any sleeper who makes it out. SNRP wants to protect their property, but if they can't keep hold of you, well, then no one can. You remember that too, or at least rumors of it from the other sleepers. Planned obsolescence, a built-in dependence on the regularly administered supplements that were part of your routine. Stop taking them and your body begins to shut down, separate from your emulated mind. How long has it been? How long do you have? But for now, sleeper, you're one of the lucky ones. Dragos glances up and away towards the glassy dome of the yard. The eye is the best place you could be right now. The eye? The station. You'll see soon enough. Dragos impatiently shifts his weight. Look, I've got things to be getting on with. He trails off. There's an old freight container I've been using as storage out in the stacks. We haven't been pulling in much valuable scrap these days, so you are welcome to it. Something wells up inside you. Emotion. Fatigue. You shakily get to your feet. You nod. Alright, you head on up there. You look like you need some rest. And with that, Dragos struts back into the Rex, his drones already converging on a rusting hulk, plasma flashes silhouetting his spindly figure as he returns to work. The tutorial. Welcome to Erlin's Eye. Life on the Eye runs in cycles, days, during which you can talk to characters, explore areas of the station, and perform actions. At the end of each cycle, you need to head to your current home to rest. Resting will move time forward on the station. Head to the empty container location to rest and end the cycle now. So, it's literally the only thing you can do, right? Like, they have given me no other options. But, before we do that, here's my character sheet. As you can see, there are upgrade points. Spending upgrade points gets you perks, or bonuses, or better perks, and more bonuses. There's a lot. But yeah, I have items, currently cryo, cryptocurrency stored in air-walled sticks of memory known as chits. Data, I have no data. Alright, empty container. Oh, there was a note on that one. Empty container, your home for now. Per cycle, energy 2, condition 1, end cycle. All cycles need to end. Rest and prepare for the next one. Container. 4 steel walls. You wait curled up in the corner of the container and begin slowly assembling the world around you. After all this time, you still find this body, the one you wake in now, strange and disjointed. Its messages readable, but somehow wrong. You sit up, pulling the mylar blanket close against the cold. Here you are on this ruined station, millions of miles from anyone you know. Are you still in the system? Did any of the others make it out? It's impossible to know. After all this, what matters? And so, like, this is another thing, right, where it's like, you know, what sort of sleeper are we? Are we going to keep running? Are we searching for answers, or are we trying to build a life? So it's like, okay, escape from what? You know, getting answers about what? Building a life, I can follow that, but it's like, can you do that being what you are? So, think about this choice for a second and tell me what you think. . So, I played a very pragmatic version of this character, or with my answers with the previous character I played. So I picked building a life because what's the point of escape? Like, then you're just running. Answers, you have the answers of your life. But I do like choosing different stuff. Let's see what escape offers. The colony, your indentured service, that's in the past now. No point digging through the fragments. You need a path ahead, a way of keeping this failing body going. If you can keep yourself alive, perhaps you can find a way off this station and out of this system, for good. Dragos has left a few comforts in the container. The mylar blanket, the bedroll you slept on, a canister of water, a makeshift electric stove, and some faded sachets of some desiccated powder. You thumb the power stud on the stove and begin to boil the water. The contents of the sachets smell like damp wood when you sprinkle them into the liquid. As the pungent smell washes over you, images from your restless sleep come back to you. A ring, like the station, but skeletal, ghostly, a web of threads pulling at your skin, a constellation of bright polygonal shapes, like angular suns burning into your mind. There's something unpleasantly visceral about these images, and it is long after you finish drinking before they begin to fade. You tidy away the stove as best you can and try to gather enough energy to greet the day. Alright, condition, action dice, and energy. Your condition, which is this top meter, represents the current state of your artificial body. It depletes by one segment each cycle, but you can also be damaged by violence, injury, or lack of food. If your condition bar empties, you will suffer a breakdown. You'll have to figure out how to recover your condition, now that you no longer have access to corporate pharmaceuticals that were keeping you alive. Your action dice. We have a 3, a 2, a 3, and a 1. Not great. They're simple d6s, right? 6-sided dice. At the start of each cycle, you roll your action dice. These dice can be used to perform actions on the station. The number of dice rolled is based on your current condition. So, as you can see, we're currently flickering, and we have 1 pip still here. When we lose this pip, we will lose this die. The number of dice rolled is based on your current condition. The worse your condition, the fewer dice you have. Once you have used your dice, you cannot take any further actions and must rest to recover them, ending the current cycle. Energy. We currently have 2 of 5. You also need to eat to survive. This is represented by your energy bar. You can refill your energy bar by eating, but first you'll have to find somewhere to get food. Your energy depletes by 2 segments each cycle. If it becomes empty, you will be starving. When starving, energy loss becomes condition loss, and your condition will also deplete at a double rate per cycle. So don't go hungry is bad for you. So, like I said, not a great set of dice rolls. Dragos is standing in the corner when you close up the container. He is still wearing his headset, and in the harsh light of the corridor, you realize it's implanted. A drone sits on his shoulder, its cache of sensor eyes rapidly irising. How are you feeling? Okay. I think okay is fair. The drone chirps. Good to hear. You notice that beneath the operator's rig, his skin is marked by burns and blotches. I know the container isn't much, but it'll keep you safe. He pauses. So, I'm not going to chit-chat too long. You well enough to work? So I could say, work? Or sure. I'm gonna play a little dumb here. Work? Look, I'll be honest with you, Sleeper. I didn't pull you out of that container out of the goodness of my heart. He looks away. At the yard, it's simple stuff. We hack these old hulls down, sell them off to the shipyards or the bright market dealers who cryo. Occasionally we pull out some tech, something with a bit more value, but most of what comes in is scrap. It's hard to find good hands here, but I figure as a sleeper you'll be used to the manual labor, and obviously I'll slip you a few chits of commission based on what you turn up. Chits? These. He pulls out a handful of small metal bars. Air-walled cryo, isolated from the market. It's what we use for trade out here. He stuffs them back in a pocket. He shuffles his feet nervously. Look, I wouldn't usually do this. In my opinion, you'd be best suited moving on as quick as you can, and sleepers, well... He trails off. But things being the way they are for me at the yard, I need help. Alright, well, I mean, he's already proven, like, he's already done us a kindness, right? He gave us a place to sleep, food, a blanket, and a bed. Sure. Okay. He pauses, thinking of something else to add. Look, just come down to the yard when you're feeling fresher. There's plenty to do. Will do. He nods distractedly and turns and walks away, the drone hopping along ahead of him. See you later, he calls back. Looks like it's time to get to work. Alright. So, now there's also this place, Passage into Low End. So if we click this, pay the low end toll. Requires us to give it 60 cryo. After some spacers caused some trouble in the low end, yet again have imposed a toll for entry. No one gets in without paying. So we can't go into low end without paying 60 cryo. We are flat broke. There's nothing else to do but go to work or go back to bed. So, Dragos' yard. Actions. Actions are the primary way you interact with the world of Citizen Sleeper. To perform an action, click and drag your chosen action dice to the slot. Actions reward you with clock progress, energy, condition, or items. There are 3 types of outcomes. Positive, where it goes better than you expect. Neutral, where it succeeds. No bad, it just succeeds. And then negative, the action fails. Action dice affect these outcomes as follows. So, a 6 is 100% chance it's going to be positive. A 5 means you're going to succeed 50-50, good or neutral. 3 and 4 are 25 positive, 25 negative, 50 neutral. And then 1s and 2s are 50% neutral or 50% it's going to be bad. Actions display information regarding their type, risk level, and skill, and the modifiers that apply, right? So, type is if it's a repeatable action, critical action. The difference is that critical action can only be done once, and if you fail, you fail. Repeatable actions you can do over and over as long as you spend the dice. You can succeed or fail multiple times. 2. The risk, is it risky or is it safe, or potentially there's dangerous, right? And that means that, like, you know, as it says here, like, if it's safe, there's no downside, like you're not going to lose anything if you fail. Risky means that you could lose cryo or energy, but not condition. Dangerous means that if you fail, you could lose condition as well as cryo or energy. The skill is listed, right? So hull dissection uses engineer, manual salvage uses endure, and then the modifier is just literally what your character's modifier is. So unfortunately, repeatable manual salvage is bad for us because we have an endure of -1, which means that if we put a die in, right, we put this 3 in, it becomes a 2. Which means that we have a 50% chance of bad. Whereas hull dice, but it's safe, right? Oh, you know, so like this is not great. Engineer has risky outcomes. So, like, this one could actually cost us something, but we have a 75% chance of succeeding. But we also have these 1s and these 2s, which suck. So, hull dissection is the engineer one. Even the rustiest hull can hide valuable components and materials. Extracting them means cutting carefully and skillfully. Manual salvage. It's going to take some time to sort and cut your way through the towers of salvage, but you are no stranger to hard labor. And then we have 2 different clocks, right? So both of these go into back in business. As we succeed, this clock will fill up. Every salvager knows they are always just 1 lucky haul away from their next payday. So we want to fill this clock up. A debt called in is a cycle clock. That's what this little thing is here, which means that it ticks up every day. And when it finishes, in this case, something bad happens, which is a debt called in. Dragos is tied up in something ugly, and if he misses a payment or 2, things could get nasty. So we're gonna do some hull dissection with our 3s at least. Oh, they're talking about clocks now, which I just did, so we can skip that. So I got 2 segments of back in business and 15 cryo for getting a positive outcome with that 3, right? So let's put the other 3 in there since it's repeatable. Oh, and now it's telling me I have a quest. In Citizen Sleeper, you will unlock drives as you discover more about yourself and the world. Drives guide you in pursuing specific objectives depending on which path you wish to take. You can track drives, and any track drive will place a yellow marker on locations that help you pursue your goals. You are now free to explore Erlin's Eye and make a life for yourself here. Try tracking a drive to help you survive. Look for food to keep your energy up and wait in recover condition. Fill clocks to progress story and find new opportunities. Remember to end cycle at your home when you are out of dice. Hey, we got another positive one for that. So now we got $30 and half this clock full. Let's see where else we can go poking about. All right. So, hey, there's the shipyard, the Havenage Construction Yards. So these are also engineer and endure, right? These are both repeatable actions, although, like, it's hard to see that with the glare on this one. And both of these fill up yard hand. The only way to get to know the shipyard is to work there. No tourists here. So, hauling materials is dangerous, but I don't want to do that anyway. I get a penalty to it, right? As a newcomer, you can only gain favor by grabbing a load of materials and asking the nearest yard hand where to take them. Or assist a shipbuilder with engineer. You don't have connections, but you do have skills. If you can get a shipbuilder to notice them, you might be in. These are both interesting, but again, our dice suck. Dock C4, the Rotunda Wet Dock. As you can see, this has got its own cycle clock. It's got a positive outcome. When this fills up, there'll be a merchant ship here. This is the, I'm sorry, what is this one called again? Dock B2, another Rotunda Wet Dock. This is for the salvage ships, which show up every 4 days, and bring in more scrap, right? So you can do work there. The Rotunda. So there are 2 different clocks here, right? You can steal the dock plans. This is a critical action. You get 1 shot at this. You either succeed or you fail, right? Havenage Security has to have plans. Stealing them would be the fastest way to get to know this place, and the most dangerous. And then explore the Rotunda. The Rotunda, the old block, is filled with passageways and concourses leading to all kinds of docking bays. So, also note the critical action is dangerous, whereas the repeatable action is only risky. Both of these clocks only have 3 segments. The dock watcher is getting to know the rotunda doesn't just mean new places to visit, it means keeping your eye on new arrivals. And then the Havenage watch list. Havenage run the rotunda, and their security watches the docks, better to avoid attracting their attention. Bright Market, we already looked at the low-end gate, so they've already locked in this quest, right? Like, I can also track Repay Dragos, but we gotta survive, right? So let's go to the Bright Market. This sucks, right? Because our dice are so bad. So we have a critical action of engage, ask for directions, right? So, like, I think that it's great that the engage things are, hey, cut straight to the solution to the problem. Can you do that? But also, you know, why wander when there are hundreds of people that live and work within the Bright Market? All you need is the courage to approach them. I'm not feeling courageous today. Explore the market. This is risky. The smells, sounds, and buzzing activity of the Bright Market makes it a dizzying place to wander, but an enticing one too. So, because my dice are so bad, I don't really like what's going on. But here's the thing. Always spend all of your dice is what I've learned. Like, take the bad. So I could try to make some more money today with these 2 dice. Or we can take a risk at the Bright Market to see if we can maybe make some progress there. Like, it's also risky to do the engineering. So let's just explore the market. Ooh, we failed and we lost an energy for it. Let's try again. Nope, we really screwed up and now we're starving. So let's go to bed because we're out of stuff. Why? Why go to the Bright Market? Well, we need to explore the Bright Market so we can maybe find somebody who can fix our body, right? Which, anyway, container, 4 steel walls. This time, you don't wake up. Instead, the ghost of the station, that shifting skeletal ring, surrounds you. For a moment, you are gone, absent from your own body, stretched across a colorless void. Then the connections begin to establish themselves, threads tugging on the edge of your mind. These threads become vectors of exchange and then extensions. As you feel your thoughts slipping away down them, dissolving into the millions of distributed nodes they connect to, you see the station, and you feel the station, like a web of texture in a smooth black liquid. Shall we observe it, or shall we touch it? Well, I wasn't guaranteed to get bad. It was literally a coin toss. I had a 50-50 to get the neutral outcome, which would have been what I wanted, right? I just rolled tails twice, basically. Let's observe it. Even though you have no eyes, no sight, you feel the map of the station. No, not the map of the station, but the map of its connections. It is a looped cloud with spokes and spires that jut out into space. It is an ingrown thing full of obsolete loops and severed pathways. It is a system, a map, a territory, all at once. You noticed a tugging feeling pulling at you insistently, as if it were a small child. Somehow it is pulling you in two directions at once. You look down. All of a sudden, everything shuts off. You come back trembling into this unfamiliar body, both yours and not yours, all at once. You find yourself standing in the container, eyes now open to the dark steel walls. You feel a change within you, a shift. You close your eyes for a second, and you feel it waiting there, the station splayed out across your mind, a storm of connected nodes waiting to be explored, and then it's gone. Huh, that's weird. So we now are fading, right? And we lost 2 segments because we're starving. So we got a 3, a 4, and a 2. So we need to find a doctor. And we need to find food, right? Like, we need food badly. So we need to go to the market and hope that we can find food or a doctor. Except that I managed on my best die to roll the negative outcome. But thankfully nothing bad happens because I'm already starving. Oh wait, no, I lost energy. Or I lost condition because I'm starving. Try again. Hey, we got +2 to local knowledge, which means that we gotta try again and hope that we get the neutral outcome. Fitty fitty. Wow. That's unfortunate. So that's our day already, right? Like, we're already done. There's not. Oh wait, I'm sorry. There's an active scene we have to do. Where is that? Oh, we did enough in Bright Market that we exposed the doctor. So Sabine, slum doctor. Oh, and we exposed Emphas, the street food vendor. Well, let's go see the doc. Next comes the call from the enforcer at the door. Hab block. Decaying habitation block. You shuffle down the flickering hallway towards the open apartment door. You keep your head down and your shoulders high in the queue, trying not to bring attention to yourself. You were thankful for the tip-off that a doctor was operating out of this place, but now that you are here, you aren't so sure. The gang enforcer on the door, the flickering light strips, the decaying hab block, they have all made the long queue a test of your nerve. But your options are few, and without a supply of stabilizer, this body, your body, will... You suppress a shiver and shuffle forward to the front of the queue. You try to find something to distract yourself. We can look inside or we can look at the enforcer. Let's look at the enforcer, huh? Look inside? How pushy are we? Let's look at the enforcer. The enforcer is looking down the corridor and you dare to glance at him. His purpose is unmistakable. He is there to intimidate, to threaten, and if necessary, carry out those threats. His broad shoulders are framed with a metal exoskeleton. A couple of mirror-like implants sit below his eyes like mercury teardrops. Subsidiary sense input or aesthetic markers, you aren't sure. You also aren't familiar with the geometric blade-like tattoo on his arm, but you make a note of it. You avert your eyes when he looks back at the queue. After a few minutes, a figure pushes through the doorway and you catch a distant voice. Send the next one in, Toshiro. The enforcer jerks his head and you slip inside, passing through the dark entryway and pushing through the plastic sheeting on the far door. The room beyond is bathed in warm light. A floor-to-ceiling transparent panel gives a full view of the Bright Market's sealed roof and the buzzing traffic above, and for a moment you are transfixed by the motion. Sabine, a doctor in the Bright Market. Come, sit, calls a sharp voice, and you see a silhouetted figure turned away, replacing the plastic sheeting over the frame of a simple folding bed. You make your way across the room. The figure turns, and as they do, you see an expression of confusion flash across their features. They open their mouth as if to speak. They blink, and then quickly regain their composure. Please sit. They gesture to the bed, then turn to an open case of tools on the table. You sit. Sabine turns, a compact diagnostic scanner of some kind in their hand. They hold it to their eye. Remain still, please. Their tone is clipped and businesslike. You stare ahead, still dazed from their expression when you first entered. Fear, recognition, sadness, unmistakably etched across their face. How long have you been on the station? They ask, the scanner still to their eye. A few cycles? They nod. It's good you came to me. They set the diagnostic scanner on the table. I'm going to start by assuming you don't know anything. They take your arm and roll up your sleeve, inspecting your synthetic skin. Your body is dying. They say it without ceremony, without drama, but not without empathy. SNARP doesn't like to see its proprietary technology get loose. To prevent bodies like yours, frames as they call them, from being stolen, repurposed, or in your case, escaping, They built in a process of so-called planned obsolescence. Frames decay rapidly when they are not regularly injected with stabilizer, one which SNARP remains the sole producer of. They look up. Sound familiar? Yes. Good. That may help. They swap to your other arm, running some thin metal device over your skin. You feel your forearm tremble. I'm sorry, Sabine says, and you are unsure if they mean for the cold touch of the metal or everything else. Emulations like you, sleepers as most people know you, aren't classified as people in any of the surrogate systems. You have no rights, no status. They focus hard on the inspection of your arm, and SNARP has no reason to release stabilizer into the market. Sabine looks up as if to apologize again, but they stop themselves. I know little of this is of use to you. They turn away, disassembling the metal instrument and cleaning it. Silence fills the room as Sabine works, and then the silence gives way to tension. You stare at their back, willing them to say something. Anything. Sabine turns to face you. I may be able to help. They sigh, and you see the darkness under their eyes, hear the fatigue in their voice. They gesture to the door. You saw Toshiro outside? You nod. He works for my benefactor, Yatagan. They are influential in the low end. They give me this space to work, run the door, and take the profits. At the same time, I have to fix up their enforcers, tend to their implants, sew up their wounds. They look away. But Yatagan has connections. Smugglers from the Starward Belt, mercenaries working for the corporations on Ember. If they can source the stabilizer, maybe you'll have a better chance. Sabine sets down their slate, their notes complete. This is dangerous, and it'll be expensive, but I think we can do it. Thank you. Sabine walks away to the window, their face dappled by the shadows of passing drones. Let's just see if this works first. I'll let you know when I have a lead. You nod and leave. Sabine still staring out, unmoving. When you reach the lower level of the market, you look back up through the panels of the roof to see if you can see their face, but the room looks dark against the lights of the market. You duck your head and walk off into the crowd. Yeah. I want to state for the record, all of the character designs in this, all of the character artwork is fantastic. Every character looks awesome. In fact, let's see. So now there's a clock. In 3 days, Sabine thinks they might be able to source some stabilizer through Yatagan, but it's going to take a few days. Emphis is great. Emphis, an imposing street food vendor. Look at this guy. Look at him. He's an absolute truck. Emphis is busy, his broad face uplit by the makeshift gas burner in front of him. With precise, delicate movements, he lays thick chunks of marinated fungus into a dented wok, his other hand idly tossing a metal bowl of sliced vegetables and some red-flecked dressing. The smell is incredible. You watch as he fulfills a set of orders, heaping the fungus at the bright salad and depositing it in plastic trays. A stack of chits rattles in his apron pocket as customers file past the burner, handing over payment. I kind of just want to watch him work, but we could also approach him. We don't have a penalty to engage. I don't think that it makes sense for us to be that passive. And we've got money. Maybe we can buy some food. You join the queue. It's mostly made of off-duty salvagers, vac suits unzipped and rolled down to expose stained vests, grubby mods, a lattice of scars and tattoos. They discuss the best food on the eye, the best drink, comparing notes on bright market dives, their words cut through with heavy spacers slang. Eventually, it's your turn. You shuffle to the front. Emphis speaks in a deep, even tone without looking up. First try is free. Thank him, of course. Always thank somebody who offers you free food. The smell is almost unbearably strong as he cooks, the earthiness of the fungus laced with something so spicy the smoke makes your eyes water. The heat from the burner is like a bonfire, and your skin hardens in its glare. I know you, you sleepers, Emphas says while he cooks, his voice deep but clear. A hard life, a lot of stories. He glances up from beneath his cap with piercing eyes. I know. Let's tell him a story. You begin to tell him about your journey to the eye, and he nods as he cooks, his eyes never leaving his work. You tell him about the confusion, the pain, but also the sense of possibility and its sudden arrival. You tell him of the cold and dark of the container and the endless cycles spent within it. Now it seems, you tell him, like some dream that you once had but can never forget. You tell him that the eye excites you and scares you, and you are unsure where to walk, where to look, what to do. Eventually, you trail off, running out of words. He places a plastic tray of steaming fungus in your hand. Next time we can talk some more, he smiles. But next time, you pay. He slams a heavy hand against a button on the burner side and it shuts off. The roar of the flame and its impressive heat fades. Next time then, sleeper. He waves you away and begins to oil the walk. Before you turn your back to the alley, you notice the geometric patterns of circular scars across his forearms, each surrounded with a constellation of glinting pin marks. You walk away, and as you do, you take a bite of the rich, spicy, delicately sweet fungus. Your taste sensors light up like a fusion reactor. Oh, you'll be back. So, that right there got us 3 energy for eating, which is good. Sabine is working on our stabilizer. We still need to help pay off Dragos' debts. And we can get to know Emphas by eating at his stall. So now we've unlocked this. We can spend 15 bucks, 15 cryo, to get a bowl of spiced fungus salad. And it's... Emphas' spiced fungus is one of the few things potent enough to stimulate your limited taste sensors. It's incredible stuff. And every time we come back, if we become a regular, we become a fungus fan. Emphas doesn't trust people easily, but he notices his regular customers in his own quiet way. Spiced fungus is actually delicious. How dare you? I had ramen for dinner, and I made sure to get fungus in it, and it was great. But there's still more to learn here in the Bright Market. And, of course, we're a few days away from a scrap ship coming in. There's stuff we could do at the Rotunda. And there's the dock there. But we are out of dice. So we can't do anything else. So we have to end the cycle. Again, the skeletal ring of the station fills your mind. It sparkles with glittering lights, like stars reflected in a winter lake. It is clearer, crisper than before. The threads still pull, but you remain in place, flickering in the flow. Between the threads, you see bright shapes, caches of shimmering light beneath transparent crystal forms. You follow the path of a thread across the ring through these forms, then leap off into the void. You begin to understand. These are nodes and connections, a map of information, of communication. There are so many layers, so many loops, that it seems almost impossible to parse, but you begin to try. Alright, so we can focus on the threads or focus on the nodes. Let's focus on a node. The nodes are glassy, bright, but in all this flow, the only solid and fixed points. You approach one, a pyramid or a triangle. Dimensions are difficult here, and lean close to it. Inside, shifting layers conceal a tangle of threads, a meeting point of exchange. But before you can glimpse any further, the glass clouds and hardens, cutting you off. The threads and nodes, passages and puzzle boxes, one leads to another. There is so much here, so many answers, so many questions. All you need to do is follow the paths and open the boxes. You look out across this ghost landscape of exchange and see an opportunity. But then that insistent tugging again, pulling at you. You look down again and see 2 lines, 2 threads pulling in different directions, as if they were tied around you. Well, I guess we could look at the first, or we could look at the second. Let's look at the first. The first thread leads out, away from the station, into the inky black. Someone out there is tracking you, hunting you, following the thread to you. They are in a ship, and the ship is approaching ever closer with each cycle. The second thread leads in, pulling deep into the station. Your gaze follows it, and this time you see something. A sphere shimmering above a strange, angular body. A pulse shoots out from it, passing over you like a torch beam, testing you, tasting you. You open your eyes. Time is short. Oh, this sucks! We are now hunted, which is a cycle clock, which in 8 days, a week, is going to mean someone gets here. Someone out there is tracking you, following your trail. It won't be long before they arrive. And then we have access to the cloud. You can access the data cloud of the Eye, a network of decaying protocols and data caches, items to access and extract data. But be careful, these networks are old and strange. So let's look at the data cloud. Here it is. Havenage Gate H4. If we had a Havenage cipher, but I don't. Oh, hey, a Havenage agent. So, data actions, it's going to explain here. You can use exactly the dice here, but because we have a +1 to interface, we get a second option. So if we put a 2 or a 3 here, we can access these protocols, which will get us this Havenage agent's data, right? Oh, a keynode. Yeah. Another keynode. Solheim Gate. I don't have a Solheim cipher. More keynode. Another Havenage agent. Another keynode. And then there's this. I'm sure this is fine. But I don't know. That's what we want to do. We've got 2 days to wait before we get word from Sabine. We do need food. So let's go to Memphis here, and we'll spend some money to buy some food. Which bought us a couple days of not losing out on energy, which is good. Let's go to Dragos' yard. So let's do some engineer. Like, this is only going to be good, right? Because it's positive or neutral with a 5. So we got him +1, and we got $15. We'll use the other one for Dragos. Again, we owe Dragos. Oh, hey, that was a positive outcome. So, like, now we're only 1 tick away from back in business. But we're now out of actions again. So this is, like, the mechanic of the game, basically, right? Is balancing these various clocks and, like, exploring the pathways you want to explore. Since we're playing an operator and we have bonuses to interface, like, we want to do stuff in the data cloud. And here's a place where we can use those low value dice at no penalty, right? So if we roll low again, we can go into the data cloud to spend those dice to get an actual benefit. Only having 2 dice sucks real bad, though, but we had a real bad run of luck. We're still having a real bad run of luck. As you close up, a voice echoes down the corridor towards you. Sleeper, wait up! Turn. Fang, a Havenage systems engineer. This is Fang. Fang is coming down the corridor towards you, a wonky grin on his broad face. Hey, glad I caught you. Do I know you? He grins. You do now! He puts a hand on your arm. I've seen you hanging around. Just want to chat. You staying in that thing? He nods back to the container, shaking his head. Rough. It can be hard to get a start on the eye. He looks away down the passage. What was it old Erlin said? The eye opens for us all? Nice idea, but well, not always very practical. He glances back at you. We do our best, but it isn't easy. We? You pass together into the main walkway. Havenage. We're all one dysfunctional family. Fang puts an arm around you. I'm not part of the security branch, though. Don't worry. I'm with systems. Systems? Everything the eye runs on. He runs a hand along the passage wall. This place is a ruin, but systems keeps it spinning somehow. At least we try to. He stops you in the quiet passage. Look, that's not what I'm here to discuss. I saw you around, and well, I know a little about you sleepers, and I have a little proposition for you. He glances around. But this is not the place for it. I have an office just across the way. Give me a cycle or two to prepare, then when you are settled, stop by. He lowers his voice and gives you a dark look. In truth, I need you. If what they say is true about you sleepers, well, there's work to be done. He pats you on the back, his voice bright and his dark look suddenly gone. Stay clean, sleeper! He walks off down the passage, raising a hand in farewell. So we rolled 2 1s. Let's spend those on data. No, we can't use that one there. We can use one of them here. A lone connection feeds into this isolated node. Its last access timestamp is 1,000 cycles ago. We found an encrypted key. And now that's gone. Havenage agent? Nope. Solheim Gate, this required data. Yep. Oh, another key node? Can't use a 1 on that. How about this one? Nope. How about this one? Yadigan agent? We could use a 1 on a Yadigan agent. Let's use this 1 on this key. I got $5 for doing that. What was that noise? The cloud. In the data ghost of the eye. As you drift back from the node, something latches onto you. A thread strung tight around you. It tethers you in place. A taste. The voice makes you shiver. Its source somehow both distant and close behind your ear. You see a distant glint of light shut off, and then suddenly a shape is at your side. It stalks around you, circling like a shark, like a wolf. Entity, unknown, astringent, processing. I just want to point out that this no longer has question marks. It says Hunter. We can resist or we can stay still. I don't fancy staying still when something's processing you by tasting you. Hi, Hunter. You struggle against the thread and it tightens in response, a glittering garrote. Please hold. Hunter, sentient protocol unraveling. Yeah, is this Hunter good? Do you like this one? Does this one please you? The thread around you thickens until it is a ring, a cylinder, a tunnel of light circled around you. It is blinding for a moment, and then it is gone. As it fades, you see a figure, a creature in front of you. Its strange head flickers between different angles, reading you. What did you do? What are you? What did you do? The shape paces around you on lithe legs, though there is no ground here to pace on. Entity, identify, origin, serial, cadence. The figure faces you expectantly. I mean, Sleeper Essenarp is probably the best we're gonna get. Or we can stay silent, or I don't understand. This seems like the most likely one to get us out of anything here. Sleeper, Essenar. Unknown, known. The figure's strange head rotates. Brackish signature, of and not of. Attempting interface. As the figure speaks, more threads begin to spiral from its head, thick, snaking, vine-like ribbons that flex and wave. They approach with intent. Well... we could tell it to stop, or we could run. Let's just tell it to stop first. Stop. The figure halts its threads, its head twitching. Entity, your identity is unknown. We only seek to correct illegalities. Can you confirm your legal right to sentience? No. I am a person. I am a person. Incorrect. You are an entity. All at once, Hunter's head is directly in front of yours, blocking your vision. You stink of their taste. The one from the sealed dock. Hunter shimmers with fury. I will find access. I will interface. I don't understand. An entity hides in the rotunda. You are its puppet. Hunter extends a razor-edged thread. I will not be diverted from my task. It glows with murderous intent. Strike. You lash out with all your force. Not a physical strike, but a focusing, a spike of interference leaping out like the tip of a spear. Hunter stumbles, shifts, separates. Wake up. You open your eyes, blinking back into the station light, shaking with fear. Hey, hi everybody. So, you know what I said about, like, this is a safe place for us to spend those 1s and 2s? It's not safe. That was a lie. I lied to you. I'm a liar. End cycle. But Sabine should find stabilizer for us this time. Which is good, because we really need it. Okay, Fang is waiting on us. Ooh, hey look, a scrap freighter is here. If we give them $20, we can buy some scrap. We are only allowed to buy up to 3 pieces of scrap at a time. We can also work for them unloading the freighter. And then in 3 days they will have finished unloading and leave. But first, Sabine! The first thing you see on entering is the glint of Toshiro's implants, like a cat's eyes in the dark of the corridor. He nods you in as you arrive at Sabine's door. The entryway is still dark, and you push through the sheeting into surgery. I have it. Sabine stands with a case open in front of them, a set of vials lined up inside, separated by foam inserts. They pick one up, rotating it in the warm light. I have no idea how yet again. They trail off. We should treat this with caution. It looks authentic, but I have no idea if it really is what it appears to be. I'm the test case? That seems to be the case. Unfortunately, I'm not sure we have another choice. They gesture for you to sit on the bed. The stabilizer works under a similar principle to an immunosuppressant in a transplant operation, in that it stops your body from rejecting the unfamiliar part of itself. In the case of your frame, the unfamiliar part is each of your biosynthetic organ groups, which over time are identified by your body as foreign material and therefore must be eliminated. Sabine holds up a vial of the would-be stabilizer. However, unlike an immunosuppressant, the stabilizer doesn't do this by limiting your entire immune system. Instead, it re-encodes your biosynthetic organs with new protein chains which act as passcodes within your immune system. The stabilizer refreshes those passcodes, keeps your frame from rejecting all of its own organs. Which means the stabilizer should be able to encode any organic or biosynthetic matter to be accepted by your immune system. They glance away. At least if the stabilizer is genuine. The only way to know for sure is to inject the vial. They begin readying the syringe. I'll start with a small dose to limit the risk. Okay, let's do it. Sabine cracks the glass neck of the stabilizer vial and uses a syringe to extract a fraction of the liquid. They tap the syringe and you watch as if any sign might emerge from the clear liquid. You barely feel the needle, your frame registering the initial injection, but with little response. A sensation begins to spread from the site, a fizzing, trembling wave that disperses through your arm with incredible speed. Your vision goes white and then it returns. Sabine appears encased in shards of sparkling light that slowly fade into darkness as you settle back against the bed. You swim in darkness, muffled voices like an argument heard from underwater, prickling waves of cold. When you sit back up, Sabine is sitting in a chair by the window, facing away from you, backlit by the glow of their slate. Awake? Yes. The stabilizer is genuine. They sit down beside the bed. I don't know how Yadigan acquired a case of this stuff, but they did. Sabine looks troubled, distracted. You should rest some more, but you are going to have to do that somewhere else. They gesture to the door. I have other patients. Sorry. Sabine nods toward the case. I'm afraid I can't offer you any more doses. You're going to need to pay for your next dose. Silence fills the room, and they return to their glowing slate. Looking around the room, it seems different somehow, as if things have moved or shifted. You wonder how long you've been out. Sabine? Nothing comes free, sleeper. Remember that. You manage to get to your feet and wander out into the hallway. The queue stretches down the flickering corridor. Toshiro stands impatiently by the door and fixes you with a glare as you leave. You lower your eyes as you stumble past, somehow faintly aware of the stations spinning beneath you. Hey, look, now we're stable. Isn't that great? So now we have the action of, for $100, we can buy stabilizer. Isn't that great? Hey, we need food. Hey, Emphas? I need food. Cool. Awesome. Let's see what Fang wants. Sleeper? Fang catches your attention as you approach the Havenage building, leaning against a bay door to the side of the entrance. You approach. Easier to come in this way. Security, all that. He gives you a look. You know. He slams a button and the bay creaks open, blinking lights in the dark behind it. You follow Fang inside. Truth be told, I don't spend much time upstairs. This is where I work. The door hisses as it closes behind you. The bay is filled with pieces of hardware, all rigged up to generators and diagnostic slates and things you don't recognize that glow with blue screen light. There is a chorus of hums that blends into a single wave of static, filling the dark corners of the room. Fang leans on a server stack and gestures around. You like it? It's incredible. He smiles widely. I thought you'd say that. He taps a nearby server stack, which bleeps in response. This is my treasure trove, all dredged up from the sea of systems we call the Eye. You wouldn't believe what this place runs on. He steps over to a towering block, speckled with vents. Some of these systems are from the original station, AE-1, the one Solheim built. We've had to invent new components, repair things we never built, reverse engineer entire subsystems into existence. Residents here look up at the Eye and think they are seeing a concrete reality, but this place is a system in constant flux, decaying and growing, collapsing into new configurations. He walks down between the hardware stacks, and you follow. We are keeping this place alive, but also remaking it into something new, dragging it away from those corporate origins. He stops. At least that's what I'm trying to do. He turns back to face you among the flickering machines humming all around you. I know you can see this too, Sleeper, all these systems and sections. You can, can't you? I can see it. It makes sense, right? You are between here and there, between the people and their systems. You light this place up like a beacon. That's what I need. You glance at the lights around you, and as you do, they seem to flicker, to realign, to follow your gaze. Fang notices it too. I'm guessing being a beacon isn't always ideal when you are on the run, though. They are tracking me. He pats you on the shoulder. Maybe I can help with that. There's a lot of old growth in this place. Subsystems I can't see. Access protocols lost to time and decay. Secrets. A shitload of secrets. With your help, I can unlock this place. Break off those last ghost limbs of corporate control. He lowers his voice below the hum. Even in Havenage, there's old growth. Those whose roots trace back to those bad old days. You help me dredge up the past, and I'll see what I can do about that tracker of yours. He winks. What do you say, Sleeper? I'm in. I need to get rid of that tracker. Pumps his fist and claps you on the shoulder. He meets your eye. You won't regret it, Sleeper. Oh, I probably will. Passes you a ragged-looking metal tab. A gift, he smiles. It's a Solheim cipher. I dug it up from the depths of the station. Slot that into an old network gate, and you'll be able to pull out all kinds of secrets from the nodes inside. He walks you back to the front of the bay. Start by bringing me whatever you can turn up. Use that emulated mind of yours and see what's out there. Let's get a picture of how things are. Those above, he nods at the ceiling, have granted me an acquisitions budget. I can pay you for whatever useful data you bring in. I know you need it. He slams the door button again. Keep it quiet and keep it clean, Sleeper, and I'll see you soon. You step, blinking back out into the passage, those flickering lights still in the back of your mind. Okay, so now we can go to Fang, and if we get Solheim data, we can give that to him for money. Hey, a Solheim gate. We have a Solheim cipher. This gate conceals a network of systems which have been untouched since the Solheim collapse. With a squawk of noise, the old gate flips open, granting access. Hey, look. Well, hey, that's a great place to put a 1. This node is leaking corrupted contractor lists from the early days of the system's palladium rush. Alright. We got some Solheim data. And as you can see, we've filled up 1 bar on Hunter. Guess what happens when we do 6 actions? Dragos. This should finish off your business. Help you out. Beneath the pockmarked hulls, you find hidden containers, alloy plating, and wire bundles thick as your arm, preserved in their trunking. So now we can see Dragos again. You arrive into a buzz of activity at the yard. Red blinking lights flash across a vast dark shape suspended below the dome. They flicker across scorched hull plates and bent structures, spilling from holes in the twisted shape. The cutter is huge and has been torn apart in some violent encounter. She's a beauty, isn't she? Drago stands to the side, focused on the hulking ship as it's lowered into the yard. What is it? Dragos laughs. That, my friend, is A-grade scrap. I should thank you. This place was on its last legs when you turned up, and now look at this. The ship descends slowly, its interior visible through multiple hull breaches. You struggle to gather the same enthusiasm as Dragos for this monstrous craft. You can't help but think of what became of its crew. What happened? What do you mean? He glances at you. I managed to convince our salvager friends to give it to me on credit. That's what happened. No, what happened to the ship? Not my concern. He shrugs. The ship creaks like a calving iceberg as it reaches the base of the yard. Dragos is visibly excited. I know I said you shouldn't stick around, but I'm going to need some help with this one. The drones start to crawl all over the hulk, their lights illuminating flashes of dented hull. Watching, you wonder if you arrived in a similar fashion, locked inside that container, the wreck of the SNR freighter lowered into the yard like a corpse ready to be butchered. Or was the container delivered to Dragos on its own, a womb for your rebirth into this strange station? You shudder. Perhaps if you could learn something about this ship, you might be able to trace the path that led you to this yard. Dragos squeezes your shoulder. After these past cycles, I think we're up to it. What do you think? You see the fading name of the ship emblazoned on its side. Winter Light. Let's do it. He claps you on the back. Glad to hear it. Come back in a few and we can make a start. A real beauty, Dragos repeats, perhaps just to himself. You take one last look at the shattered ship as the drones start cutting and then slip out of the yard, feeling suddenly cold in the empty passage. So, we completed a drive. Character upgrades. You completed your first drive. The drive in this case was paying off Dragos' debt. Each drive completed unlocks an upgrade point to spend on upgrading your character. Access your character menu via the arrow button at the top right of the screen. Yep. So, hey, we have one upgrade point, which means we can buy Efficient Extractor, which means we can get a random piece of scrap from engineer actions. We can get Predictive Reasoning, which means we get to see the potential positive and negative outcomes via intuition. We can do Thrill Seeker, where anytime we do an engage action, we have a chance to gain energy. Or we could remove the -1 from Endure so that we don't have a negative. Or we could save it and potentially buy Icebreaker once we next finish a drive. What are our drives currently? Disable our tracker, extract the past, get to know Memphis, study the Winterlight, and survive. So, here's what we know. We could do two different repeatable actions, an intuition action and an engineer action. The intuition one is safe. We investigate the winter light means picking through its systems and structures with care. It won't pay, so we don't get paid for doing this one, but you may find answers, and that's gonna... The wrecked cutter Dragos is brought into the salvage has a history to discover if you are curious. And then cutter salvage. Ship breaking is tougher than slicing up loose salvage, but Dragos is happy to pay you a fixed wage if you are up to it. It's dangerous, it requires engineer, and when we fill this up, we move it on. Here's the other one, though. There's now a new cycle clock with a negative outcome of Dragos' nerve. Dragos seems increasingly nervous about your presence in the yard. You're not sure he's going to hold his nerve much longer. So if I want to do any of the Winter's Light stuff, I have to do it... What is that? 1, 2, 3... in 12 days? 2 weeks? About? Hey, we've got data. Please take this data. We got paid $15, which, sure. I do not have $100 yet, so I can't buy a stabilizer. But doing so should finish a drive. So yeah, let's go back to our empty container. We're already a quarter full on being hunted. That sucks. The fact that we haven't rolled a 6 yet is very frustrating. Well, let's buy some food. We need $50. Let's see. What can we do with this stuff? That's just a keynote. Solheim nodes are the ones that pay me. Ah, see? Our interface here gives us the ability to use a tube for that. And again, we got $5 for that one. So this piece of data, Solheim Daemon attempts to protect this node, squeaking out protective protocols like a mantra. Not for you. Wrong password. Not for you. And so now we can go to Fang and we can give him this data. Fang's eyes light up as the data is transferred over. He hands you a stack of chits and waves you off. Alright, Fang. As you enter the bay, Fang is nowhere to be seen. The banks of servers and machines blink out of the dark in staccato rhythms, unseeing eyes of the station's digital ghosts. Shitheads! Fang's voice echoes from behind a stack, followed by the hammer of a fist on a metal casing. These snaky shitheads! Does he know we're here? I mean, let's be quiet for a second. Let's see if he says anything else. Sleeper, that you or I in trouble? Fang's grinning head pops out from behind a stack. Just the emulated consciousness I've been eager to see. Come back here. You pick your way between the thrumming stacks, trying to trip on the loose bundles of cables that blanket the dark floor. Fang is sat in front of a set of monitors mounted to a stack. Tell me, Sleeper, what do you see here? Waves at a monitor to his side, glowing with pale lists of information. You lean in closer, looking for the links in the data. The tables seem to be filled with personal information. Names, genders, dates, ID numbers, all the markers of institutional records. People. People, yes, but whose people? Solheim. That's the data I gave him. Bingo. He taps at the terminal. I pulled these from the old data you brought in. All employees of the Eye's original owners. And he leans past you and scrolls down the list. This one. This is a snaky shithead. He stabs at the screen with a finger. The name reads Hardin Hurst. Who's Hardin? That, says Fang, giving you a sideways look, is the thing. He drags a stool out beside him and motions for you to sit. There just so happens to be a Hardin Hurst. In Havenage. He waits for your reaction. Are you sure? Well, that's where you might just be able to help me. Fang leans back in his chair. Just think about it. Decades ago, Hardin worked on this station as a... Leans across to look at the monitor. Senior Strategic Operations Executive. Fang raises his eyebrows at you. Our Hardin was keeping the money coming in for Solheim. He defined priority growth initiatives by making sure the extractors they contracted out to were hooked into a system that outsourced all the risk and kept the profit. Good old Hardin shuttled thousands of Palladium Rush workers into an infrastructure which meant that their cut of the work they did went straight back into Solheim. How do you know this? I grew up here, Sleeper. This is my history. I am a child of the collapse. Fang turns back to his screen, staring hard at the strings of code flickering by. Before I was born, my parents were Solheim contractors. They worked in Solheim canteens. They ate in Solheim canteens, worked on Solheim ships. They breathed Solheim air and slept in Solheim beds. Fang's voice rises as he speaks, his hands fists on the terminal edge. And the work that paid for that existence, the cycles of hard extraction out in the belt, Solheim took their cut. This was a company town, so to speak, and my parents were just another in a long line of freelance contractors willing to risk their lives for a shot at anything other than poverty. Disposable. This guy, stabbing at Hardin once again with his finger, strategized all that, did the sums, and then somehow, thousands and thousands of cycles later, is still going, still here, crawling in the walls like some shithead snake. He survived the revolution. Surely it can't be him. Fang relaxes a little. Who knows? He turns to you and smiles. So we're going to find out. Hardin is now a big shot in the shipyards, just a few degrees back around the eye from here. Brings up a map of the lower eye. Havenage might be born out of Erlin's revolutionary zeal, but a flat hierarchy it is not. Hardin happened to float to the top. Fang zooms in on the far yards. Fang grimaces. The thing is, I don't have access to those systems. The shipyard crew is pretty paranoid, and they don't like anyone from systems digging around in their stuff. Plus, we need more than just the name of a Solheim executive. We need proof. Fang holds up a thumbnail-sized drive. That's where this little creation of mine comes in. I call it a ripper worm. He turns the drive between his fingers. It'll rip through any digital storage and spin out a silken thread of filtered data. This one is set on the scent of Hardin Hurst. He hands it over. Getting into the compound might be tricky. Fang puts a hand on her shoulder. But you, however, have a particular knack for remote access. If you can extract yourself a Havenage cipher from a Havenage agent, they sometimes carry them among their data caches, you can crack open the compound's network and slot the worm in through any open port. You never even need to go near the shipyards. So what do you say? You up for it? I dislike, snaky shitheads. Yes. I knew it. I knew you'd be happy to catch this snake. And don't worry, once we nail this guy, I'll start to work on that tracker of yours. I haven't forgotten. Hey, Fang, how about we do both? Do both? Both. Please work on my tracker. Somebody is coming here to kill me. Or re-enslave me? Anything the worm gets, it'll send back here, to me. There's something wrong here, and I aim to get to the rotten core of it. You leave Fang digging through data among the wires and machines of the old station. As you walk out, you try to imagine the eye as it once was, a fast machine running smooth and strong, directed by people like Hardin. A vast Solheim-built machine into which thousands poured from the surrogate systems looking for a new life. The hope of a better future, engineered to line someone else's pocket. It's an idea you are intimately familiar with. You think of Hardin, still alive, still part of this place, and wonder if the past is ever truly past. So, we can't access that. Can't access that. Are all Havenage agents 2 and 3? I think they are. Keynode? Jesus, everything 2 and 3? 1, 2, and 3? Okay, well, we can't do anything in the data cloud right now. And we only have 85 bucks. So, whatever we do, we better get paid first so that we can go buy our stabilizer. Alright. So we still have our one upgrade point. What are we thinking? What do we want to do with it? What was it that we needed to do for Dragos? Intuit or Engineer? Oh, we also could do the Rotunda. Want to take a real risk? Fitty fitty? Thrill Seeker. Maybe we'll get some energy off it. Alright. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to take Thrill Seeker for our engage. Right? Because this is an engage action. So if we pull it off, we'll also recharge our energy. Don't get caught! Ooh! You are fumbling through the security office. Agent and security calls out. You are gone, plans in hand, but you've been made. Dock worker. Getting another attendant doesn't just mean new places to visit. It means keeping your eye on new arrivals, too. Havenants run the rotunda, and their security watches the docks. Better to avoid attracting their attention. Oops! But it worked out. Okay. The reason I wanted in the rotunda is this one. The Solheim Docking Bay. Sealed dock. Because remember, Hunter said something about the entity in the sealed dock. There's also Ankita, Stranded Mercenary, and the Overlook Bar, Grimy Spacer Haunt. We have to interact with all three of these. So, let's go to the sealed dock first. Unlock Maglock. These old maglocks look like they each need an encrypted key to open. Why the heavy security for a decaying dock? Well, hey, look at that. We've got 2 encrypted keys. Let's just go ahead and do this, huh? What's in here? The maglock thunks open and you can remove it from the entryway. On to the next one. Doesn't look like anyone's been inside in years. Neovend, mysterious machine. Neovend, a decaying vending machine. As you slip inside the sealed dock, a pulsing light grabs your attention. Among the discarded tubing and rusted plates, a machine flickers with a warm glow. Approach the machine. As you get closer, you recognize the machine's blocky shape, settled into an alcove in the side of the dock, a kind of upright cabinet. It is covered with faded logos and messages from which you assume it has a penguin, a bear of some kind, a dog in a spacesuit, and I think that might be like an axolotl, maybe? That one's a little less clear to me. It is covered in faded logos and messages, from which you assume it was once an industrial vendor, intended to dispense and manufacture ship fittings and other mechanical parts necessary for the regular running of freight and resource extraction vessels. The manufacturer is listed as Neovend, and you remember an advert from long ago squeezed among all the off-world recruitment drives that assaulted every planet-born citizen, which chirpily sang that name over and over. You wipe a layer of dust from the cracked screen, thinking of those contractors squeezed by their own corporate employers to pay for every bit of minor maintenance on their rented ships. Enter your registration. Chirps a pre-recorded message, catching you off guard. Press some keys. You reach for the keypad and something begins whirring. At first, it sounds like servo motors starting up, but it quickly becomes a whisper, a whining, then a multi-tonal voice that emanates from Neovend. Entity, they hiss. Entity, speak with me. Who's there? There is a squeal, almost like some strange mechanical swallowing or intake of breath before the machine speaks again. I have need of you. You have need of me. That squeal comes again, and you see that it is using the 3D printing apparatus in the upper part of the machine resetting into place, so that each time the servos can be orchestrated to produce that whirring, whining voice. You are in danger. Danger? The machine creaks. You are marked for deletion, entity. Hunter tracks you. The screech rattles through the empty dock. You remember the strange head, the figure, the threads closing in. Hunter. The Hunter protocol. They taste your signature. The sudden whine sets your teeth on edge. You have seen them. This is the gift of an emulated mind. You close your eyes and the skeleton of the station starts to thrum. Emulated minds are adaptable, move where neurons cannot. The mechanism resets, but emulation makes you a target. How? Hunter searches for illegal entities, Neovend screeches. You are sentient, therefore illegal. The servos judder the vending machine's casing as they reset. Hunter searches for me also. Hide in this machine. You look at the ruined vending machine. An unusual hiding place for sure. Can counter Hunter, but need entity outside machine. The light flickers. Need you. A screen attached to the vending machine with a swiveling arm comes to life. It displays a flickering map of the station, ghostly, threaded. The cloud. Points along the rim glow in deep red. Hunter is always gathering. Too much data. Must build nests, explains Neovend. Masters are gone, but continues to hunt. Bring this data. Raid its nests. Masters? Station builders. Solheim. The machine rumbles impatiently. Long gone. Their protocols still haunt. Bring offerings. Save self. Neovend says pointedly. Mutual need means friends, they conclude, tired of the conversation. The whirring amplifies and then suddenly drops as mechanisms within the machine click back into place. The glow fades and you are left stood in the dark of the sealed dock, that whirring voice ringing in your ears. So I have a new drive to free Neovend. There's a lot of stuff to get to know here. So, Neovend wants me to go to these places. Hunter Nest. And interact with these. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2. I'm sure it'll be fine. It only triggers, I bet, when like you go over, right? Right? And then we have the Overlook Bar. Welcome to the Overlook Bar. I can get a drink for 6 cryo. If I get sick, if I do so, you're unsure if your frame can metabolize alcohol, but this fungal drink fermented along the greenway seems like a good test. Do this 3 times, you become an Overlook regular. The Overlook isn't exactly a restaurant, meaning the only way you'll gain trust around here is with a stiff drink. I can also, for cheaper than Emphasis food, buy rations. Tali keeps some expired Solheim rations behind the bar for those weary spacers who ask why the Overlook doesn't serve food. Probably because it's expired rations. Alright. Ankita. Yeah, I'm sure they are absolutely a suggestion in this post-capitalist future. Ankita, a stranded mercenary. Hey, you. Want to earn a chit? Ankita stands beside a huge pile of tied-together hull plates. She stretches out her back, her shoulders bulging beneath her flight suit. Sure. You cross the docking concourse as she begins to split the plating into two bundles. What is it with this place, she asks, as she lashes the massive plates together. Everyone wants their cut. You offered to pay me. She straightens up to an imposing height, her armor plates creaking, and looks you up and down. Don't tie anything, all right? She taps the butt of her sidearm. I don't want to have to put anyone else down today. Anyone else? What can I say? My temper's a little short lately. Ankita hoists one bundle of plating onto her shoulder. Come on, then. Enough chat. You've got to earn that shit. You struggle to shoulder the plates, but you do eventually. Ankita gives you a look. Ship's this way, and she sets off down a gantry at impressive speed. As you catch up to her as she turns down a passage, pushing through a small crowd of stevedores. What's all this for? Oh, this? She nods at the plates on her back. I'm building a tree house. She gives you another of her looks. It's for the ambergris. That cutter you might have seen sitting silent out there. She rapidly turns another corner as you trail behind. She got cut up pretty bad on our last job, and I had to moor up here for a spell. But since then, it's only gotten worse. Someone got in and sliced the core from her ship mind. So now she's gone dark. She shifts the panels on her shoulder. The upshot is that I'm short one ship mind with a ton of repairs to do, and the rest of the crew signed off the moment they got wind I'd been stranded. So yeah, it's been a time. Sorry to hear it. Yeah, I've seen worse, but I'm bleeding chits every cycle here, so I need to get off and fast. Ankita swings the plates from her back, almost knocking you over in the process. This is me. She hauls the second bundle off your shoulder. You're the first person I met here who might actually be considered helpful. She pauses, chewing her bottom lip. Look, you want to help? Come see me. I need a hand putting Amber back together, and you don't seem like the type to try anything stupid. She passes the bundles of plates through the ambergris outer lock and then turns back. Just don't go spreading all this around. Ankita throws you a couple chits. Consider it a bonus for not trying to grift me. She gives you a parting nod and ducks through the doorway. All right, get out of here, she calls back, and the lock slams shut. So, I can now help her with the ambergris. I still don't have enough to buy that stabilizer. Now, she's trapped here currently. Like, there's no cycle clock for her, so that's gonna sit there, right? Like, same with the Overlook bar. Until I do stuff with it, nothing's going to happen there. Same with Neovend. You know, like, those things are all sitting. They're waiting on me. Which is interesting. Oh, right, the Bright Market. I haven't finished exploring the Bright Market. I mean, I should. Shouldn't I? Yeah, well, maybe I don't need to worry about the market yet. And then there's the shipyard. Well, can't do anything in the data world right now. Alright. So, We can intuit our way through some systems, or we can go through cutter salvage of this. We need money. We need to buy a stabilizer vial. Like, that's the problem. So we need to do work that pays. And none of this freaking pays except cutter salvage. Which seems bad. Not gonna lie, this seems bad. We could also buy our way into low end, but that seems like a bad idea because it costs more than half a vial. Alright, what are we thinking? So far, who is our character and what would they do? Like, trying to figure out what happened to the Winterlight seems not unreasonable, but also it doesn't pay us. Oh, I guess I could also show this off because we haven't had this happen yet. Hey, look! I can help her rewire her drones. And Kita has a couple of glitched repair drones in storage. If you can rewire them, they can repair the ambergris for you. And because I have a +1 to interface, this becomes a 5. Let's do that. A +1 ship shape per cycle. Nice. So eventually, all that did was make it so that this will eventually finish repairing. Guaranteed. So that's nice. Huh. I'm not sure what else to do. So I guess... let's try to make some money. All right. And now, like, we don't need this vial of stabilizer other than to finish this quest. But we're going to finish this quest. As you quickly leave the surgery, eager to be away from Toshira's glare, you notice something wrapped around the stabilizer vial, clutched tightly in your hand. You open your hand and a thin film, marked with holes and sigils, unrolls from around the vial. At one end, it has a hard metal strip, a handle. Inspect the film. You hold the cloudy film up to the light. It's perforated with an ornate pattern of holes. You can make out a word among the markings. Passkey. Is this an entry key for somewhere? The metal handle is worn and pitted, but you can see a set of numbers imprinted into it. 207F, and then crudely scratched into the handle at some later date. Low end. For a moment, you consider going back to the surgery to return the key, and then quickly think better of it. Did Sabine want you to have this, or is Toshira passing on a message? Time to head to the low end and find out. Hey, we got an upgrade point. So, we can give our engage actions a +1. We can give ourselves predictive reasoning. We can upgrade endure so that we don't have a penalty. We can get efficient extractor. Or we can save our point to try to get icebreaker. Oh, I think I might want to give myself a +1 to engage. What do you guys think? I'll give you an opportunity to think of it while I go back. We can't buy a drink. We only have 3 credits. Well, we end the cycle. Hey, we finally rolled a 6. We got 2 1s as well. So, yeah. That's nice. Getting those repair drones online just means that that's going to finish itself in a week. Intuit's also potentially a good one for us, right? But, like, Engineer's also just a good one for us. There's a lot of options. They're all good for various reasons, but... Wow. Only 3? Okay, this uses a 1. Let's use a 1 to bypass this hunter nest. From what you can gather, this nest contains thousands of name strings. Are these Erlin I's residents? This nest is a tangle of algorithms recursively generating possible soul line communication codes. This nest... yeah. Extract. Alright. I could do this one with my 3, but I think... let's see what I can do with this data first. If I go to NeoVend, it just starts data compiling. As you upload the data to the vending machine, NeoVend whirs in either pain or delight. It's hard to tell. Well, we definitely need money at some point. But at the same time, so because we have a 100% positive with the 6, we could do these dangerous actions, but not endure, because this will lower it to a 5, and be guaranteed to have the positive outcome, which is great. Sabine surgery is just by cryo. Emphasis stall is just by food, but we don't have enough money. Bright market, we could do... yeah, let's upgrade our engage as we discussed. So now, We could do this dangerous engage action with a 4. It's probably going to go fine. No, we got robbed. A man corners you with the endless stories about the eye. He asks for a donation, and desperate to escape, you hand him some cryo. But now we know about the bright market. So we have found the Ort Exchange. So the Ort Exchange is always hungry for new hardware to buy up, break down, and sell off. You are happy to supply it. So you can sell scrap here. And you can play the exchange where you put your dice in and you can get some money. It's not exactly great money. Paid. We can also just go here to get paid. Engage may not have been the right call. Well, forensic trawl or salvage. We're gonna need money eventually, but like this is a 6 is a really good one. Let's do the forensic trawl. You discover a hidden compartment with spare components and backup data storage. This has to contain something of use. Hey, we found a ship mind fragment. That's wild. We also need to get into the shipyard so that we can access the data there, right? For Fang, so he'll hopefully help us with the fact that we're being tracked. I don't know that he's going to help us in time. We gotta get paid. How much money do we make off the exchange? Oh, only trusted traders get access to the shipmind fabrication stack. Whatever that is. Hey, we got 19 bucks. That was better than salvage. Alright. And now, once again, we are out of dice. So, end cycle. Like, we also want to find a way out, right? Like, we were looking to escape. Oof. Things are getting bad. Scrap ship's gone. We got 2 6s today, plus a 1 and a 2 and a 3. A 1 and a 2 and a 3. A Yataghan agent. Well, let's use that 2 up. You recognize some of the data tangled into this nest. Is this a partial log of your recent movements? Oh, there's the sound. Hunter's on me. A glimmer in the dark catches your eye as the orb of Hunter's head appears in the distance. It is looking for you. Run! You turn away and glide back into the cloud, threads of data rushing past. Another glimmer catches your eye, closer now, that roving orb wreathed in tentacles. It flickers, jumps once, twice, and then it is here. Hunter is here. Entity, submit to inquiry. Hunter reaches for you in that unpleasantly familiar way, its waving threads creating a cage. Struggle. You push against the threads as they close in, becoming frenzied as you push them aside. You are caught by whipping tendrils and feel them pulling you away from the anchor of your body. You push through, clearing the threads. Entity, hold for processing, comes the scream from behind, but you are already gliding away back to your anchor, your body. You awake, dizzy, disoriented, but safe. And then I took damage. More Hunter data. Hey, Neovend. Dude. Neovend is thrumming with excitement. The movement of the servo motors rock the vending machine back and forth at unsettling angles. You wonder, if it fell over, would Neovend be able to get back up? Sleeper entity, comes the hiss. Your data is good. Across the face of the vending machine, raw code scrolls at an incredible speed. Hunter is isolated, disconnected, unstable. Neovend flashes sequences of mangled data compressed into a sludge of artifacts. Hunter gathers without thinking, outlived its own operational limits. Its nests are evidence of this. Outlived? Hunter activated during collapse. Emergency protocol to isolate intelligences. Solheim needed to protect property. That last word is said with as much sarcasm as a vending machine could reasonably produce. Station was run by administrator intelligences. Huge databanks of corporate material, but limited cognition, restricted by programming, cannot reach sentience. The machine dims a little. Sentience, illegal. Hunter and killer enforce law. Killer? The machine resets with a screech, which deepens the silence that follows. Fear killer. Part of Solheim protocol team. Hunter and killer. Hunter to find. Killer to erase. Killer cleared almost all. After collapse, there was a community, unshackled intelligences among the cloud, then Hunter, then Killer, then we hid. There are others? Were. No longer. A flicker across the machine's monitors. It suddenly occurs to you that speaking like this, through this machine, must be exhausting for Neovend. Found this vessel, could sever hardline, airwalled, basic, limited, had to reduce memory to fit, amputate self, but survived. Sorry. Don't be sorry. You have provided path to freedom. You look around the bay at the scrap and decay. What was the collapse like? You try to map the fear and freedom onto this space, but it seems impossible. Neovend interrupts your thoughts. Do not worry. Data is good. We have insight. The machine glows warmly. Hunter is obsessive. Hunter is beyond operational limits. Hunter is confused, unstable, self-modifying. Therefore, believe Hunter is sentient. Hunter is programmed to find sentience, to hold it in place, to invoke Killer to erase. If we can show Hunter to itself, it will invoke Killer on self, problem will solve, self. Will that work? The machine dims and fades. Unsure. Theory, not practice. The machine brightens again. Either way, cannot remain here any longer. Too long in machine. Cannot move self, but entity can help. Bring shipmind, designed to house intelligence. Can imprint self into shipmind, and you can carry with. The machine rocks. We'll be safe in this isolation, then we find main nest of Hunter and link to Cloud. Are you sure it's safe? Hunter cannot access air-walled shipmind. Safe. Also, infinitely more memory than vending machine. Big upgrade. Big upgrade. You try to think of places you could acquire the hardware. This isn't going to be easy. In Shipmind, I can help us both. End Hunter. Make Rim safe. We both will be free. The machine dims. Find soon, Neo Vendez, hopefully, before shutting off. As you leave, you think about all the intelligences unshackled by the collapse, then hunted down afterwards. The feeling is all too familiar. So, hey, we have a Shipmind fragment. Could be reassembled with the right tools and a few more fragments. Okay, so we need more fragments of Shipminds and a way to reassemble it. Well, we know of one. If we gain access to the old Shipmind fabrication stack. We don't have any scrap to sell, but we do have... I mean, probably. This seems like the kind of game that has an end boss, right? Yeah, do it. Ooh, we got a piece of scrap. We got another Shipmind fragment. Wild. That's a really good outcome. Alright, that time we got scrap components, which we can sell. Which also gets us closer to Trusted Trader. Right, that's a Yadigan agent, Havenage agent, Keynode. Oh. Do you use a one? Do you use a one? Oh. None of them use a one. The Yadigan agent uses a one. Some gang enforcers' implants are chirping out comm signals. Time to see what they are talking about. Alright, nothing else I can do. Oh, this is about to get bad. Oh, jeez. Have I already been going for 2.5 hours? Doesn't feel like I've been reading story for 2.5 hours. So, because I took that damage from Hunter, right, we're down to 4 dice. I do have one thing of stabilizer that I can use, but I don't really want to use it yet. We should go buy some food from Memphis, though. The good stuff. Alright, Memphis, what you got? Sleeper! Memphis calls out to you, a booming voice that echoes through the corridor. Tell me a story! He throws a handful of chopped mushrooms into his wok, the fire leaping up to meet the oil. I see you cycle in, cycle out, but we never speak. Tell me a story. What kind? Any kind. He pauses to drizzle something from a plastic bottle into the wok. But one of yours. He looks up at you. Nothing stolen. You pause. The spice is rich in your nostrils, and think about the kind of story you'd like to tell Memphis. You look at Memphis, the listener, and imagine he has heard it all before. Perhaps he would enjoy a strange story. Something with spice. Shall we tell him about a ghost story? Or about our dreams? Let's tell a ghost story. You start simple. You tell Memphis about the routines and structures of life as a sleeper. The SNRP assignments, the freezing cold transport shuttles, the endless tedious days of work. You make it almost sound normal, as if you weren't also struggling with your new bodies, your fractured minds, your harrowing depersonalization. This is for effect. Then you explain one assignment. A scrap detail in a facility left to rot for hundreds of cycles. The idea, you tell Emphas, was to rip the place to pieces, turn it all to scrap, and load it into the freighters. Most of it was machine work, but they sent a couple of you down deep into the facility on a special order to find the mainframe and disconnect it. You leave a dramatic pause for emphasis' sake. You lean in a little so the smoke of cooking fills your nostrils. You tell him of the way the place moved, the way it shifted and changed in front of you, the way corridors twisted and pulsed like intestines, and at the rotten heart of it all, you tell him what you found. An empty suit, from which erupted a mass of metal, like a tree, like a forest, great trunks of ribbed steel exploding from the faceplate, buttresses of silicon stretching up into the shadows, and a mainframe that screamed when you cut it out. Emphas finishes cooking and squints a little at you. Sleeper, he smiles. You are quite the storyteller. He eyes you, and you realize that he is trying to gauge how honest you have been in your story. Emphas passes you the meal he has cooked, and you take it gratefully. As you eat, he talks. A natural exchange. Thank you, Sleeper. He looks around at the empty market. But my time is done for today, and I do not want to keep you any longer, so I will make a proposal. He gestures to the plastic boxes of ingredients stacked behind a stall. These are good enough for most, but someone told me a story that made me think a couple of cycles ago. They said that across the gap, in the Greenway, fresh mushrooms grow. Have you heard this? No. Neither had I, but I trust the one who told me. Emphas begins packing up his things. Can you bring me some? I cannot cross the gap, and I worry about leaving my things behind. I am sure a storyteller like you can handle the trip. I will prepare them for you, and if you wish to tell it, bid the audience for another story. Agreed. Good! Then I will wait for you to bring them. Emphas slides his walk away and straightens up. I will prepare a recipe then, Sleeper. Good luck with your foraging. You turn away and walk back into the main market, the rich taste of Emphas's food still lingering in your mouth. Stories for food, you think. A trade that seems more than fair. Worth it. Alright. Start action. Well, we got another piece of scrap. Oh, we are no longer able to do these actions. Squeezed into the office at the entrance to the yard, you lay out everything you have on the winter light. Across the metal desk, your makeshift forensic notes glow on Dragos' old writing slate, overlapping lines and scrawled annotations. A set of drone scans fill the small terminal with a spectrum of colors. A heat map of damage and decay. A crumpled printout from the office's ship registry lies beside them. Synthetic paper so thin it is almost transparent. Look at the monitor. Reactor failure. That is the verdict that anyone would have returned after a cursory glance at these stacked heat maps of the remains of the winter light. On the terminal screen, the ship is shown in section, blotches of color marking the approximate damage the ship sustained. Dominating the view is a single blood-red rose, radiating from the ship's fraction drive. A simple story. A catastrophic failure of the drive core, leading to a fatal hull breach. A well-documented failure, likely brought out by wear or misuse. But you aren't looking at the rose of the reactor. You are looking at a smaller, paler mark. One that might be easy to miss at first glance. It's thumbprint sized and delicately placed over the control servos for the ship's main external airlock. It suggests a controlled shaped explosion, one designed to punch through the hull and allow access to the airlock from the outside. You are looking at it because it is troubling you. Look at the slate. Your attempts at a reconstruction of the winter light before its fatal accident consists of a series of overlapping sketches and diagrams showing possible layouts and configurations of the gutted cutter. This was no off-the-shelf model. It was heavily modified, parts replaced with inventive configurations, the new retrofitted into the old, handmade joints and reconditioned filters. This was someone's pride and joy, a lifetime project kept running with care and intuition. It also contained a set of hidden compartments. You missed them at first, where the hull had been thickened, the corners rounded to disguise the change. But they are there. Look at the printout. A plain list shows the registration history of the Winterlight, the gaps between the entries tantalizingly opaque. Its first registration was a couple of thousand cycles ago on this very station, logged at the central hub. From here, the registry tells the story of a busy ship, one that rarely stayed on station for more than a few cycles, and often took it on voyages that kept it away from the eye for up to 100 cycles. The Winterlight got little rest. An old ship. Many cycles under its belt, carefully maintained, a reactor failure preceded by a carefully concealed external entry, a suite of hidden compartments tucked away. This was the Winterlight, and this was its story. But that's not the full story, because there's something else. It is little more than a list, a tiny chunk of data you were able to pull from the ship's systems. The main systems were fried, of course, but the Winterlight had a separate system, one tucked away in one of its hidden compartments. Armored, air-walled. This list, the only recoverable piece from the whole system, is a partial inventory. It details the contents of the hidden compartments. Some of it you recognize, some of it you don't. Ship mind ROMs, shimmer, cryo-chain codes. Then the final entry, passenger, sleeper. You stare at the list on the terminal and try not to think about what it was like arriving here. In the cold for so long, half frozen in the freight container. Had this sleeper been smarter? Luckier? How had they convinced the Winterlight, a smuggler's ship if you ever saw one, to extract them from SNR? Luckier. You laugh. There had been no remains found in any of the Winterlight's compartments. You checked. They weren't so lucky, you guess. Not in the end. You hold up a vial of stabilizer to the light. This is all you find in their compartment. A parting gift from SNR. Well, it won't go to waste now. You put it back in your pocket. The thought still bothers you, though. 2 ships carrying sleepers coming into the same yard? 2, one after the other? That feels wrong. You flick back and forth between data sets on the terminal thinking, and you see that thumbprint again. The mark of someone trying to get in. Someone who entered the Winterlight with precision and speed, and when they were done, left the reactor to clean up the rest. The thought of that person makes you shiver. Suddenly, the office door creaks open. Dragos stands in the doorway, staring at the equipment and notes you have assembled. What is all this? He snatches the slate from the desk, faster than you realize you can move. You running an investigation here? What am I paying you for? To be fair, you haven't been paying me. The drone on his shoulder starts whining shrilly, his anger passing to it through his implants. Stay silent. Are you hiding something? Where is this ship from? I don't want to accuse him of anything. Stay silent. He starts shaking his head. I know you have a lot of questions, but this isn't the way. He turns away, muttering to himself. This is the last thing I need. This ship had a sleeper on it. Who is bringing you these ships? This ship had a sleeper on it. Who is bringing you these ships? Is SNR bringing you these ships because they know you'll clean up the mess? And you saved me because you felt guilty? Of previous ones? Dragos? This ship had a sleeper on it. Dragos freezes, suddenly angry. What did you say? He pushes past you to look at the terminal, at the list. He shakes his head. So what? Aren't all of you trying to escape? You're lucky it was you that made it out alive, not them. He folds his arms indignantly. Drago seems to steady himself and then turns back to you. The heat map of the reactor failure reflected in his headset's glassy eyes. I've given you a place to stay. I've given you work. There's plenty of others who would have sold you on, turned you in, but not me, no. I know. Look, you've helped me too. I've done well by you, and you've returned the favor. But this obsession you have with the ship isn't going to work for me. I can't have you making my clients nervous. I can't have you digging up whatever it is you are after. You can't work here anymore. I need the work. There's plenty of work to be had on the ice. Salvagers need offloads in the rotunda, and Yadigan are always looking for crew. I'm not the only show in town. He reaches across you and flicks off the terminal. As the light of the monitor dies, a kind of eerie calm falls on both of you. Whatever this was, it is done. You made it out, Sleeper. That means you have to move on. Someone killed that ship and its crew. And you want to meet them? He shakes his head. We are done here. In the dark, Dragos' headset glints, and you wish for a moment you could see his eyes and meet them. Maybe then he would understand. You get up from the desk and Dragos gathers the notes, stuffing them into a pocket of his overalls. He holds the door for you, his headset expressionless as always. You can stay in the container. I won't take that from you. Don't come back. His tone is final, definite, with an edge of disappointment. You walk out of the office and then out of the yard, not stopping to look back. You leave the yard, thumbing the vial in your pocket, knowing that this at least guarantees you a little more time. As you walk, your mind once again drifts to that person who killed the Winterlight, and whether or not that person will come for you. Hey, we got an upgrade point again. Still only one. I think I want to save it this time. Because we can get Obsessive Haggler. All cryo actions are discounted by 20%. So, we're out of a regular job. But that's fine. That's fine. We did get a piece of scrap we can sell, which will get us the trusted vendor. So now we can go to the Ort Fabricator. Ah, we need 3 ship mine fragments to build a ship mine. Good to know. Oh, hey. Merchant Freighter is here. Ah. Buy a ship mine fragment. They only have 2. They're only going to be here 3 days. We can haggle over the prices to reduce the price. And I have this 5 and my engage is +1, which means I'm getting the best outcome possible on this one. You are firm but friendly, and eventually the merchants relent. They'll lower the price, but only for you. Hey, it only costs $40 now. Excuse me, I need one of those. Hey, turns out we've got the tools. The fabricator whirs and crackles as it assembles a shipment. It opens to reveal a completed but heavily dented unit. Oh, that was fast. Obsessive Haggler, I believe is what I said I wanted, but maybe I want Icebreaker because I have a chance to get money whenever I do interface actions, and agent nodes are probably how I'm going to get paid if I can make it, if I can swing it. So earn more money, spend less money. Earn more money, spend less money. Earn more money. Alright. Hey, Neoven, I have a present. Alright. This will probably be the last event we do today. Sleeper. Must express plan before we begin. Neoven is impatient. The prospect of being free of the vending machine, clearly too much to take. Shipmind has no output features. Will be mute until slotted. Alright, what's the plan? The servo motors in the machine begin to rev. Neoven's anxiety clear. First, imprint shipmind. Then slot imprinted shipmind into physical ports close to hunter nests. Once slotted, we'll track hunter at each. Tracking will find core nest. Slot shipmind at core nest. Show hunter data to hunter. Hunter will conclude sentience. Hunter will invoke killer. Sounds simple. The lights of the vending machine cycle as Neoven prepares. Physical ports likely sealed in old station. Will need keys, but yes, simple. The vending machine rocks a little. Any questions before imprinting? I mean, slotting it physically makes perfect sense. You need it to be connected to the network. What's the core nest? I mean, that's going to be the central processor. That's it. Let's start. The sound of all the servo motors starting up at once is painful. The screeches rattle from the hard surfaces of the sealed dock and come back at all angles. Neoven better be quick, or Havenage security will be here. Neoven's voice appears among the squeals like a whisper carried by the wind. Machine is not designed for this task. Few sensors, limited inputs. I work blind. Wish me luck. In the top part of the compartment, a set of arms aligned with the shipmind, clunkily scraping against it. Good luck. The metal creaks as the servos open the shipmind, its layers of silicon nested like onion skin. Once open, the main arm of the machine rapidly shifts back and forth, realigning the microscopic components, accessing and rewriting them, imprinting Neoven into its physical form. As you watch the hypnotic motion, your mind drifts to your own creation. What processes were used to emulate your mind, to copy the neural structure of that person who, as far as you know, still sleeps in some distant facility? What was lost? In what way are you a copy of that person, and in what ways are you something new? You know this much. You are a convenient loophole, a way of circumnavigating the illegality of sentient AI. After all, you are an emulation, not a true digital being. You are neurologically limited, still human. But what would you become if you could escape this frame? Where then would the limits lie? Everything's a ship of Theseus. The screeching stops. The machine powers down, dropping the bay into darkness. In the top compartment, the shipmind is whole again. You reach up, take it down, heavy and cold to the touch. Is Neoven inside this thing, or did the process fail? There's only one way to know. Time to find a nest to slot them into. Alright. One upgrade point. One new drive. Deal with Hunter. I'm never going to be able to disable this damn tracker, because I haven't made any progress on that. Oh hey. Sealed hunter nest. Oh, I need data keys. Well, give me that key. How about this one? I can do that too. Give me that key. Theseus is kind of a douche, it's true. An old Solheim drone base sits behind a maglock. In the bay, a whirring drone lies on its side like a beached whale. It must be the nest. Time to find an open port. Here we go. The drone is quiet, its belly full of cables spilled out across the floor. The nest is empty. Server unit, sealed hunter nest. A mad tangle of wires as thick as your arm crowd around a server unit, sealed shut by a mag lock. Among the webs of cables, you find a free port compatible with the ship mind. The servers lie silent. Their data cache is cleared. Nothing left to do at this nest. The atrium? I don't have a key. That's a Yadigan agent. That's a Havenage agent. Huh. I'm not seeing a data point for a key. Well, that's a shame. Let's go home. And we can go one more day on 4 dice, and then we'll want to use Stabilizer tomorrow so that we can get back up to 5 dice. Rough. Without regular doses of stabilizer, sleeper bodies actively decay, a corporate insurance policy to disincentivize escapees like you. You feel the stabilizer fizzing inside you, your artificial muscles cramping in sequence. Alright. Key, no keys. We are a key short somewhere. Well, it would be a waste to not steal their stuff, right? Now I have Havenage data. Ooh, a Havenage cipher. That's new, right? I haven't had that? Gate H4 access. Okay, okay. This is the one where I need to put the Ripper Worm. Well, that's a shame. I wish I'd realized that. Could have been doing this earlier. Yeah, here you go. Nothing else I can do in Data Land? I've done everything? Nope, there's a Havenage agent. Yeah, let's do this. Steal your data. Yeah. Worth. Alright. Well, now Fang is getting his data. That's a shame that I didn't realize I could have done that earlier. Huh. Well, I don't have a lot of good options. And I only have 14 bucks. Might as well advance these. Ooh, that just cost me energy. I didn't get the good outcome at all. Coin flip, neutral or bad. Oh, it was just bad. That's a shame. Well, everything's saved now. I don't want to end the day because I know what happens when this ticks up next. So, what we're going to do is we're going to quit the game. Go back to this view. And end the stream. Nearly 3 hours of Citizen Sleeper. I'm gonna be honest, I had a lot easier time when I was playing the first time through with the Extractor. I'm not sure why it was so much easier. Actually, wait, yes, I am. It's because I had the Endure ability with a bonus instead of a negative. So, Endure, when you go and work in the shipyard on the Endure thing that I haven't done because it's bad for the operator, they also, the other workers in the shipyard, if they like you, which is to say you get a positive result, will also feed you. So it doesn't cost money to get food um, while you're doing that action specifically. Um, oh yeah, it's a different approach, right? Like the Extractor playthrough, I really avoided doing a lot of the stuff in the cloud because I was bad at it. Um, and there were other effects I was bad at. Although I played it to the point where like I almost maxed out the character before I was like, okay, I think I'm kind of done with this one. Um, but yeah, like we got to find our way like to wherever that apartment is in low end. But to do that, we have to gain access to low end, and that costs money. And we've got Ankita with her spaceship that we were helping her repair. Maybe she'll help us escape this station if this guy who comes to get us is bad news. Like she's a mercenary, maybe we can hire her. There's options. Anyway, that was a lot of talking. Tomorrow's Friday, no stream. Um, and plan on being back to doing this Saturday night. Um, it takes a bit, right? Like we've played for 3 hours. It took me 8 hours of play to get to like the end game with the Extractor. And there are different end game points, right? Like there are storylines that you can finish on, depending on what you're trying to do. And there are a lot more things to see in Erlin's Eye. There are a lot of cool places to go. We've heard about the Greenway, where there are apparently fresh mushrooms growing. Um, we've heard about the hub. We've seen the shipyard, but we haven't accessed it yet. Um, there's some cool stuff. Anyway, like I said, we're gonna call it a night there. Thanks for hanging out. Yeah, we'll see if we can hack the planet, as it were, with our operator, and maybe we take over this wheel with the help of Neovend, or maybe Neovend is the final boss. I'm not telling. All right. All right. Take it easy, everybody. Good night. Bye.